impressive. It's been impressive all week long in this extreme move to the upside. And a lot of it really coming from technology, coming from semiconductors, coming from biotech earlier in the week when we were up as strong as we were on Wednesday. It was a powerful day there. So there's a lot of different areas of the marketplace that are participating, which I think is a good thing. It's good to see the broad participation. We've even had the financials actually kick in a little bit, Scott, along with the industrials. So a nice broad move to the upside this week, and I think it's important to point that out. I realize we do have some strength, obviously, in the NASDAQ, and specifically when you're talking about some of those big names that didn't fare so well towards the end of last week after earnings. A lot of those names are recovering very nicely, whether you're looking at Apple or Facebook or Amazon or go through the entire list, a nice move to the upside. So that's been very strong and very impressive. I'm just amazed at the volatility, though, Scott. The fact that just a week ago we closed over 40 and now we're at 26. I mean, just to put that in perspective, just think of that as a stock that's gone from 40 to 26 in a very short period of time. That's an incredible move to the downside. It's just telling you a little bit of something about people are starting to feel a little bit more comfortable about the elections and potentially the results. And I think whether it was one side or the other, I'm not being political here. I'm just saying having some sort of answers very close by, and we just heard from Eamon, it seems like it's getting that much closer, and that's what people want. They need clarity. They don't like uncertainty, and that's what we've been seeing this week is a little bit more of a path towards clarity, I think, going forward.
Weiss, I'm wondering if, we're moving closer to that scenario, which I discussed yesterday at the top of the program, the way that some of the big smart money is thinking about this, the Biden presidency, the Republican Senate, and then you sort of go from there. You're closer to a vaccine. Maybe you don't have as large of a stimulus plan to send interest rates higher. Does that scenario seem to be playing out to you? Do you share the view of some of those I've been speaking with?
Yes, and that's the baseline. Look, I think to Pete's point that sure, the market likes to have consistency and outcome. And we've gotten that. But the market's also saying we got the right outcome, which is why it's been up on such a violent basis, just moving up. So I do think that's perfect. Of course, we won't know about the Senate until Georgia has their re-elections, the runoff. But regardless, you don't have this slam dunk Democratic, majority in the Senate, which should put some of the people, even though I didn't think it was at risk, some people at ease about moving to a complete socialist agenda. So here's how I think it plays out. We continue to have a very high caseload, ever-increasing caseload, 117,000 COVID yesterday, which is a one-day record. The market's not paying attention to that. Why? Because we're getting closer to a vaccine. So you'll get vaccine data this month. To me, I see another move in the market up on that. Maybe it's 3% or so. And I think the baseline case for stimulus right now is a skinny package with the lame duck session. And then we get a bigger package next, when Biden takes hold. And keep in mind that the president, regardless of who it is, generally gets their way with the first couple of pieces of legislation. So to me, this is the perfect backdrop for the market. You'll see CEOs loosen the pocketbook. There'll be stability in trade. Tech is not going to be under siege every single day, whether it's blacklisting and retaliation. So CEOs, at least the ones I'm talking to that never said it publicly, will be willing to spend. And we've missed that CapEx, which had begun to decline meaningfully in 2019. Look, so, yes, it's a perfect backdrop.
There were plenty of days in the last couple of weeks, remember, where, when stocks were lower, the headline that we had and we discussed, stocks lower on virus concerns. Now, to Steve's point, the market's been distracted pretty heavily by the election, the fallout. We're still counting votes days after Election Day. That's going to finish up. We're going to have either a president-elect or the re-election of Donald Trump when this process is all said and done. The market's then going to get back to the point where you've got 120,000 virus cases per day, a number that continues to escalate. Does the market then get its attention back to what the story was before Election Day?
Hey, Scott, good to see you again, as always, today. It's kind of interesting, right? We're seeing the cases rise, and I do not want to sound not empathetic, and it may come off that way, but I said this several weeks ago, and I'm actually okay with the cases rising, and you might look at me like I'm crazy, Scott, because I know I follow you on Twitter as well, and the cases are rising, and it is a problem that cases are rising. But just like in The Hangover, the question is, but did you die? And I know that people have made that case before, but as we move forward, what makes me very optimistic, and I am a half, full kind of girl, as you know, half glass full kind of girl. And I feel as though if we can get a vaccine, and even if we can't, if we can control the bad outcomes, the bad outcomes from COVID, if we can get these cases down, obviously we'd like to see that, but if we can actually control what happens and be able to adapt a little bit to these rising COVID cases, and hopefully what we'll see is a deceleration in those cases, as long as we can get to a place that allows for some level of control or consistency of being able to navigate this, we will be okay. And I'm not talking about the markets right now. I'm talking about as the human race, we will be okay.